Hey guys, and welcome to the Nerdling review of the third episode of Continuum called Second Thoughts. I just want to start out by saying right off the bat that this episode was pretty boring and kind of shitty, and there's a drug from the future that is the lamest drug ever. Which, now that I think about it, isn't that the plot to Kids in the Hall Brain Candy? Isn't that the plot to that episode, to that movie? Where they just like take the Gleamanex and then get trapped in their own happiest memories?
Yeah, that's essentially it.
Okay, so this episode is essentially a ripoff of Kids in the Hall. And Kids in the Hall Brain Candy, much more entertaining film than this 1 hour episode.
But here's what's interesting. They do all of this story between Liberate and the Coalition Kings and the gangs and gang death and bringing in Carlos and 80s cop show. And I wasn't entertained by it. I don't feel like it really provided me anything.
It wasn't riveting.
Sonia is now, deeper into the true meaning of what Liberate is and has given up trying to go against it. I can't even.
Yeah, she's decided that right. The whole point of Liberate is to inspire people and to rise up and to give them hope and.
If they're gonna do this, shouldn't they do this in a really passionate way where you believed what she meant? And there was like this one speech that was kind of passionate to eyeglasses, and you still don't really care. There should be something with more passion, more oomph in the scenario of where everything played out.
Nothing seemed emotional because it just felt like everyone was just sitting there reading their dialogue off of cue cards. Like,
it was all flat. It was all predictable.
And once again, they had to telegraph things through dialogue that we were actually seeing on screen, which was a scene in which, Carlos and Kira show up to get the drop on some gang members, but then they find out, oh, Sonia's there talking to the gang members, and this is I'm gonna call backup, and Carlos is gonna call some backup, and right as he's about to say that, or right after he says that, Sonia's like, well, I've gotta leave.
And Kira immediately is like, oh my god, she's gonna leave!
She's leaving! We've gotta go now!
We got it.
Yeah, we got that, thanks. I got that she's leaving, because she just said she was.
We wouldn't have figured out that she was leaving by the act of her leaving.
Yeah. I'm so glad that Kira was there. Otherwise, I'd been really confused. Later on, I'd been like, where's Sonia? Where did she go?
Where did she go? She never announced she was leaving. She must still be there.
And camera work. Let me tell you one of my biggest pet peeves on shows. And really, it's the biggest pet peeve for me in movies, and that's ShakyCam. Can't stand ShakyCam. It's the most ridiculous way to film a scene.
But how else do you know that there's action?
It's like there's only a few reasons why you ever use ShakyCam. There's just simple questions to ask yourself. Are you on a roller coaster? Is there an earthquake? Is the plane crashing? And maybe, are you in the middle of a battlefield? Those might be the only times where ShakyCam is acceptable. Ever. Like, a camera sitting around and jerking all over the place doesn't fucking cause drama to happen on the screen. It's not like suddenly
the dialogue and
right.
Okay.
The way that your scene is going to be intense is because you have good actors that are delivering good dialogue, and they're conveying the drama on the screen. Shaking your camera doesn't fucking suddenly make the scene over dramatic. How somebody might convince somebody else that it's a good idea to do this. It's a terrible idea, by the way, movie makers. If you ever decide to make a film, if you want to ruin a scene, fucking add ShakyCam, because it doesn't do anything except for take the audience out of the fucking moment and sit there and become overly critical of the fact that your actors and your dialogue, which is what happened in this episode, couldn't fucking carry the scene on its own, so you had to come in and start shaking the camera all over the place. But that's fucking bullshit. Just put the thing on something! Put the camera on something and just leave it there! Why does it have to be all over the place? And that's, God, every time it happened in this episode, it happened quite a few times. It just made me more pissed off because of the fact that You know, again, it's like you're just trying to use this stupid, horrible camera. I want to meet the person that came up with that shit back in NYPD Blue in 1992 or whatever the fuck that series came out. And I just want to kick them in the balls. Just over and over again. Just beat them. Just be like, God, this is what it's like when I watch shows with this shit in it. This shitty fucking filmmaking crap that you NYPD Blue person fucking invented. Ruins everything. Alright, I'm done.
She feels very passionately about it.
It's the worst camera technique. Another thing about Kira is that they've taken her, what was kind of a mildly selfish relationship or one-sided relationship with Alec, which was kind of like, hey, do all this stuff for me. I'm not really going to do much back for you except for make you excited about the future because I'm using all this really cool tech. Mm-hmm. But make sure that you do all this stuff for me.
Right.
And in this episode, it really was the extreme. It was kind of, you know, I mean, you had mentioned it where it's like, you know, she just kind of uses this kid. Why does this kid want to hang out with her?
I'm BB. This is BB.
In this episode, it was really terrible because, first of all, she acts like she's deeply cares about Alec, but when in reality, it's more
it's
like
all still for her own selfish reasons.
Right. It's like she's mad that Kellogg is trying to make, you know, Alec work for him, but it's kind of like, well, why? Because yeah, he's kind of a douche, but he's not.
And it's still about her.
Yeah, it's all about her. Like, don't mess with Alec. Why? Because
you're doing it
now. It's not going to be it's not going to be convenient for you if Alec is busy living his own life.
Right.
And then she's like, don't try to use me or don't try to use this to get to me. And it's just like, wow, why don't you maybe not think about yourself all the time, Kira, if you could? And even to the point where later on in the episode, like, Alec has been hurt in a car accident. He has one arm in a sling, and she's making him carry her groceries. Like, why the fuck was he even carrying them for you anyway? Like, you're a police officer, you're clearly, you know, need to work out to stay in shape. You have both of your arms.
Even if he had offered, the right thing to do in that scenario would have been like, you're injured.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it.
And I'm not going to include you in any other aspect of my life that I don't feel like you deserve to be included.
Exactly, but I'm going to come knocking on your door again a little bit later because I need to tell you again not to do drugs, to check in with me 24/7, to let me know what's happening.
Yeah, she actually tells him that. Check in with me 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, what are you, his fucking keeper? He doesn't have to do that.
Right. But at the same time,
owe you shit.
And then at the same time, follows that up with, I need you to look into this for me about XYZ and update me as soon as possible. And he's like, sure. Yeah. Why not?
God, she's awful. See, that's the problem.
So,
and
maybe
she's turned into like a shitty character that you just...
She's turned into a shitty character. They've never really developed Carlos into a good character. They changed his hair. I still like that.
They made him shave.
Sometimes. That's what's funny about this totally boring episode, is that they really were trying to accomplish a lot of things, but they didn't do it in a way that made me care.
The only thing that's remotely interesting for the whole thing was the flashback memory that Alec had, where he's holding his dad's watch.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, that was interesting.
There's some guy talking to his mom, and he thinks it's his dad, and he turns around, and it's crazy guy from the future from season 1. If they try to claim that that's his dad, I'm gonna immediately call some bullshit on that because first of all, why wouldn't there be any pictures of his dad anywhere?
Right.
And like, why would this memory of him be the only thing that he has to recognize his face? Because I really hope that that's not what they are insinuating. I hope that what they were insinuating that maybe something with his dad had to do with crazy.
I'm hoping is where they go too. Also, if this guy went into the past as far back as he did, he would know the Sadler name, right? Mm-hmm. He could have looked him up trying to get more information about the technology. I mean, Alec's dad clearly has more information than we know about a lot of this stuff.
So maybe if they go with that kind of storyline, now I'm kind of interested in the hopes that it'll turn into something.
And I've always been more interested in sort of the Alec Sadler story along with his dad. It's not like this is the best show that's ever been written, but the dialogue was not this flat. It was entertaining. There was more like passion behind it. Everything I feel like is so played out. I really have just... I don't care about Kira anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're a third through the season. What are we talking about? What is the point of this season so far? That I'm supposed to care about?
Yeah, you're right. Disappointing episode. The disappointment for season 2 continues into the 3rd episode. If you have any comments to make about the episode, go ahead and leave them below. But just remember to be polite, because as Will Wheaton says, don't be a dick. Tune in next time, guys.